Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Welcome back to the One Man Low Council. Welcome to episode 194 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast, and I am back. It has been a while. I am now Papa Odin. I am now a father to little baby Thor. Thank you everyone for your kind words, your well wishes, and all of your prayers for both Freya and also of course for baby Thor. And for me as well. It has been awesome. It has been absolutely incredible. And so obviously tonight is going to mostly just be kind of a catch up, making sure everyone's okay and catching up with everything that has been going on kind of in the general movie news, as far as especially with AMC looking like it might be selling off some stock at the very least, possibly even going bankrupt. Alita Battle Angel being re-released in AMC theaters now as well, which has been pretty cool to see. And of course, also, we have a little thing here in the United States today called an election, and it has gotten, of course, worldwide attention, just like it does every 4 years, because as you all know, every 4 years, it is the most important election of our lifetime. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard that. I'm sure many people watching this probably have heard that even more than I have. And yeah, welcome back. Also, I have a new microphone. This is something that you may have seen earlier if you were watching Friday Night Tights last week when I made my my reappearance over there. Hopefully everything is coming through okay. I know that this microphone tends to be a little quiet, so I tried to boost the gain just a little bit and try to see if it comes through okay. So please let me know, of course, how things are sounding on your end, and hopefully everything is coming through okay. But let's go ahead and say hello to some people in the chat. It looks like overall things are coming through all right. I have not seen anyone say, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. So let's go ahead and say hello. Lane Days was here at 6:33 saying, so far looks like Biden is winning hands down. I wouldn't know. Biden hands down. See, here's the thing. I've always been of the mindset that I feel like it could go either way. It all depends on who shows up really on election day. Because you can look to the early votes, you can look to all that stuff, you can look to the polls, which, let's be honest here, the polls were wrong, tremendously wrong in 2016. They were wrong again in 2018. They were wrong again in the special election in Florida. So why would I believe those polls? Why would I have any trust in those polls whatsoever? You know what I do have trust in? Results. And tonight we're finally actually getting some of those results. And to be honest, even now, even still right now, it could go either way. Again, anyone that says they know otherwise is either lying to you or is really putting on a brave face. It's always amazing to me when I see people put on these, there's no way this is going to happen. There's no way. There's no chance in hell. And here I am saying, oh no, either could happen. Biden could win. Trump could win. Either situation as absolutely possible. I would actually probably go more in lines as far as the odds are concerned with what the betting odds are right now, because last time I checked, it was around a 65% to 35% for Biden winning, and that makes a lot more sense to me. I know that a lot of people watching this probably feel it's the other way around, that if they had to put their money on it, they would bet on the president. But for me, I feel like 65-35, that's a much, I think, more accurate portrayal of what people generally feel. And of course, I think a lot of that is based on polling. And that to me is going to be the big story, is how off are the polls going to be? Because someone's going to be wrong, right? Some of these polls are going to be wrong. Polls that were correct in 2016 either are going to be correct again or are going to be wrong this time around. And then polls that were wrong in 2016, wrong in 2018, wrong in 2019 might finally actually be correct, maybe? That's what's going to be interesting. For those who don't know, I'm kind of a political wonk. I love following this kind of stuff. Even though I hate politics in general, especially just because of what it's become, just of nonstop bickering and fighting and yelling, I've always very much been fond of history. I think I care more about history and historical trends than I do anything else. And personally, again, the numbers fascinate me. Seeing the historical voting records of different states and how they voted a certain way for so long, and then all of a sudden, they've changed. And are they going to continue to change? Are they going to go back? Who knows? Who knows at this point? It's crazy. What is also insane is that when I went to the YouTube video to see how things were going, it was pretty crazy because there was a warning label saying information about the election might not be accurate. And it's like, really? Is that what we're going with here? Is that honestly what we're going with here? Is just trying to spread, or rather trying to warn people against quote unquote misinformation, even though there's been so much misinformation the last 3 years? It's insane. It really is. Brian Barth in chat, what's going on, good sir? Mark Lizeth is in here. What's going on, Mark? How is it going? Tina B, my Valkyrie, the Empress of the Universe, is here as well. Hope you are doing fantastic. And yes, indeed, if you want to get my attention on YouTube, just type Odin question, all one word, Odin question. It'll highlight orange on my screen and it'll let me know that you're trying to get my attention. Alice McCarthy, who's a member of the channel, says, howdy, Odin. How's the pizza and baby? Pizza's been great. Had pizza just the other day, and Baby Thor's been fantastic. Nathan Slay, how's it going? Chris Cook is in the chat as well. Let's see, Buck Jackson in the chat. Forever Sci-Fi, who's a member on the channel, hello to you. Joe Bag of Donuts, good to see you again. The Hunka Chunky Funky Monkey is here. General Wingster is in the chat. Slicer Neons, California, Kevin. What is going on? Using some of the hilarious fake words that have been muttered by the gibberish from Joe Biden. Stephen McDonough, how is it going? Matthew Lumsden, how's it going? Bruce, how's it going, good sir? Let's see. Witchfinder General, how is it going? Forever Sci-Fi, as a member, says people are already dropping off bricks in Chicago and Denver, so things are a little tense. Here's the thing, too, right? Because that's the other big narrative is about, oh, there's going to be violence. There's going to be violence. There's going to be violence no matter what. No matter who wins, there is going to be violence. And that is a terrible thing. And it's really sad because you only have really, based on what we've seen in interviews and everything, only one side of the main two-party system that we have in the United States has even somewhat said that, not necessarily that it's okay, but has seemed to say, oh, yeah, you know, we'll bail you out. We'll bail you out. Again, people as part of the members of Biden's staff have bailed out rioters. Yes, not protesters, rioters. People who have caused violence. People who have been a part of these mobs. No one on the Trump camp did that. And again, is that enough to vote for someone? Some would say yes, some would say no. Right? I'm kind of in that middle ground on that. I think there's a lot more important. I think there's a lot of important issues that need to be taken into account before voting for anyone. That's just me, though. However, only one side has really been, I mean, again, not as hard against rioters. And it's sad because no matter who wins or who loses, there's going to be riots, there's going to be violence, and it's sad. It really is sad. That's something that I've been praying for. I've been praying for peace. I've been praying for us to somehow be able to just get past the differences, right? We're not just a D next to our name. We're not just an R next to our name. We're human beings. And that is what needs to be most important, first and foremost. And unless we can figure that out, unless we can actually get that going, then, you know, at that point, it's like, what's the point? If we can't respect each other as human beings, what's the point? Nathan Slay tagged and says, great to see you again. Hope your baby has been bringing joy into your life. He's been bringing so much joy. He is so cute. The little noises he makes is just so damn cute. Mimi, what's going on, Mimi? How is it going? Sizer Neons at 667. Hail Osgard. Got my first voting sticker on me now. How is the all baby daddy doing? I'm a little tired, but doing okay. My wife, Freya, has been a rock star through it all. And I got my sticker as well. It's on a shirt that's currently in my dirty clothes bin, but I'm going to get it at one point and put it onto my XLR interface because that's where my first sticker from voting in the state of Tennessee was from last year's elections. So, yeah, lots and lots of fun there. Because remember, everybody, local elections are vastly more important than national elections. National elections are pretty important, right? President, senators, right? House representatives, all of those people absolutely can impact our lives in a very direct way. But if we want to talk about people that are going to have a more immediate impact and also people that we can have a more active ability to change if we don't like them, local elections, very, very important. And so that's why I hope everyone voted up and down the ballot. No matter who you were voting for, you voted for every single slot and you did your research and you knew exactly who you were voting for and what you were voting for. I had 2 amendments on my ballot this year. And again, I love voting for local stuff because I can immediately see, especially with the amendments, this is stuff that's going to immediately impact me and my community. And that's so important. Bruce says, hi, how is it going? Soul Assassin in the chat as well. Marcus Cato is here. And also, I think Marcus Cato dropped a sticker, a super sticker. Thank you very much, Marcus Cato, for the super sticker. Very much appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, here. So the chat has jumped on me. Let me say hello to my D-Live fam. What's going on, D-Live fam? Let's see. Dean Heiss resubscribed for 3 months. Thank you very much, Dean Heiss. Captain Dean Heiss now, again. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Phone Nemo in the chat as well. Haven't missed much. Again, I just started about 10 minutes ago. Started a little bit early because I might not be able to stay on the entire hour and a half like I normally do because, as I said, I'm kind of a political wonk and I like following these things. And that's what I'm doing. And by the way, for anyone that is following the election, Kentucky has now been officially called for Donald Trump. No surprise there. So that would be 8 electoral votes for them. And then Vermont, to no one's surprise, has been called for Biden-Harris. Once again, no surprise there at all. It is going to be interesting to follow these things as they come in, though, right? Because obviously you've got not just the presidency, you've got the U.S. Senate. Control of the U.S. Senate could be a huge thing. And, of course, also you have the House. And honestly, I think there's a best chance. If anyone's asking my predictions tonight, if anyone wants to know my predictions, I think, this is just me. I'm no expert on this, by the way, in case you didn't know that. But if I had to go with my gut, I would say that Biden and Harris are going to win the popular vote by a decent margin, probably like 3 or 4 percentage points. I then would also say that because of that, and they've said clearly that basically they need to win 4 or 5 of the popular vote nationally in order to win the Electoral College. If it's only 3 or 4, there's a good chance that Donald Trump wins the Electoral College. And I think that is likely going to happen. I think anywhere between 279 and 305 or something like that. Again, I forget how the math exactly breaks down, but that would be my guess. Now, again, that could be completely wrong. There's definitely a world where Biden wins 279, wins 300 plus. Again, either could really happen. It really depends on who showed up to vote. And based on early results, Democrats seem to be doing pretty well in the early results, and based on at least when we look to the on the day voting, tends to lean more Republican. What is going to be interesting to see for me, though, is what the actual turnout percentage is going to be, because it is always abysmal, right? It's usually in like the 50s. I think honestly that we could see anywhere between 60 and 70% turnout for this election, which is awesome, right? No matter who wins in that. The more people that are involved in the political process, the happier that I am. I wish that more people would get involved, and not just nationally, though, locally. The fortunate thing is that sometimes it takes national elections to actually get people to go out and vote. And by the way, we do indeed have some reports here that apparently Georgia is too early to call. And so that is something that we'll have to follow, right? Because obviously Georgia is very traditionally a Republican, a red state, but hey, we'll see how that goes. Let us see here. Thank you again, everyone, for being in the chat. Let me head back over onto my YouTube fam. Hope everyone is doing well. Let us see. Hunker Chunker Funky Monkey says, I suggest you trim the beard. Babies have a nasty habit of grabbing things and not letting go. Yeah, he's already grabbed it, and I'm fine. Yeah, I was thinking of actually trimming it more so for his own sake. Whenever I'm holding him and I'm burping him, the hair rubs up against him. It doesn't seem to hate it too much, but it is something where it's like, maybe I'll trim it a little bit just to make it a little bit better for him overall. Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, says, hail. Wait, he started a little early. I did. Because as I was saying, I love to watch the results. It's just something that I've loved to do really since I remember doing it even before I could vote. But especially starting with my first election, the first presidential election I could ever vote in was back in 2008. Crazy times. I was in college at the time. It was very hard at that time because I was very much a person that I was raised in a Republican household, and that was kind of where I was stuck. And I put a little bit too much, I think, a little bit too much of my heart and mind into it. And it wasn't until later in life when I became much more of an independent, as far as, not just party-wise, but also just in general, where I realized now there's so many more important things. Right? So no matter who wins and who loses tonight, again, the most important thing to me is trying to quell violence. Like, that to me is more important. Right? Whoever wins this presidency, yeah, there's going to be things that are going to frustrate me on either side. There's going to be things that frustrate me in general. However, I care more about the safety of people than I do anything else. And so that's the biggest thing that I want tonight, right? Regardless of who I voted for, regardless of who I want to win or who I think is going to win, the main thing that I want is peace. And whether that's here in our own country or whether that's overseas, especially in the Middle East, again, it's a very important thing to me. It's one of those little check marks of things like, hey, this is an important thing. Obviously, the pro-life issue is my most important, but peace around the world, especially in our own country, is definitely very, very important. General Wingster says, but Odin 2024 is the most important election of the millennium. Of course it is, General Wingster. And again, 4 years from now, you're going to hear the same exact stuff, guys. It's just this way in which the media tries to get ratings, and it just pisses me off. It really does. It's so ridiculous. Oh, Lordy. Alrighty. Laura's in the chat. What's going on, Laura? Waiting for Nerdrotic. Glad to see you here. Orange Eye Reviews says, Allfather and Big Daddy Odin, how are you doing? How is baby Thor? How is Frey? How is life? Everything is going swell. GMonkey76, how's it going? Eric K, who's a member of the channel, how's it going? How is it going? Eric K then says, Hail Papa Odin, hail to you, Eric K. Eric K was a savior, by the way. He sent 86 diapers. We went through all 86. In fact, just up until a day or two ago, we had finally finished them off. And now he's transitioning into out of the newborn diapers and into the ones. And so we have already reusable diapers because obviously, one, it's just better, it's less waste from us, and then two, it's also much cheaper just to have to clean those. Problem is that he doesn't quite fit them yet. There's been some leaking issues, and again, the stuff that we're going to figure out as we go along. But those 86 diapers you sent were very, very well needed, and that, the wipe warmer has been wonderful. He was very upset with the cold wipe on the bum, and now he is much happier. So thank you, Eric K. Shout out to Eric K. for sending that stuff our way. Appreciate it very much. Brian Bart says, if Trump wins, the phrase, they never learn. Yeah, pretty much, Brian Barth. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm not going to lie. I think it's going to be a lot more funny if Trump wins than if he loses. Again, either way, as long as there's, again, I don't want violence. That's the big thing that I care about more than anything else. But yeah, it's definitely going to be funnier because you just have so many people in the media. And again, you look to big tech and what they've been doing, right, with the Hunter Biden story or anything else. And it just makes you think, you know what? It's just one of those. And I think that's why a lot of people are voting for him this year. It's not because necessarily they agree with everything he does or that they like him or that they like his personality. Again, I think he has a terrible personality. He drives me crazy. He drives me up the wall. However, I also hate what the media is doing. I hate what big tech's doing. I don't like when giant corporations and giant companies try and get involved in this direct way by limiting information or curtailing information. You know, it's so funny. They always love to talk about, Russian interference and, China interference. What about local domestic interference? Because that, I think, is a bigger problem, a bigger issue, and there's so much clear-cut evidence that it's happened. It's insane. Hunka Chunka says, I hate when parrots imitate clocks too. Ooh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Father says, shocker, Biden wins Virginia and Vermont. Again, yeah, no big surprise there at all. I didn't hear about Virginia being called yet. I'm going to go back to my board. So Virginia's polls have just closed. So far, at least according to Real Clear Politics, it has not been called. That being said, it would not surprise me. And this is something that I learned last election cycle, and that is the reason why Virginia it used to be a very traditionally red state. The reason why it's now switched over to be a blue state is because a lot of people that work and live in D.C. have now basically have been moving into Northern Virginia. And I remember there was a time in 2016 where I thought Trump was going to win that, and then all of a sudden the Northern Virginia vote came in, and it just changed completely, dramatically. And it seems to happen like that a lot, though. It seems to happen like that a lot, where people work somewhere else, and then it is what it is, though. Hellrats96, how is it going? That's why, as someone said, misinformation. That's why I go by real clear politics, because it's not perfect. However, it is, I think, the most balanced approach to anything. It provides polls from all parties. It provides polls from all different ends of the spectrum. And it only announces winners when there's a general consensus. Because I'm sure that you could have, Fox News and CNN all declaring different things. Yeah, so it looks like Fox News had declared a win. Had declared a win for, who was it? For Biden. So Virginia's been called by Fox News, but it's not been called by Real Clear Politics yet. Because obviously every single one of these organizations has different methods and different approaches, and I feel like Real Clear Politics might not be the first to announce, but when it does, it's not likely to change. Kara Tharp, how's it going? Had pizza for dinner. So happy to hear that. Oh, yes, the pizza is so very good. Very, very good. And also, I haven't mentioned this yet. Please make sure you smash that like button. I really would appreciate that very much. So we got 83 people watching. For some reason, it looks like the Heimdall bot is not working together, or not working fully. So I'm going to try and restart the Heimdall bot. Again, apologies to everyone. It's been a while. It's been a very long time. It feels like forever. Again, baby Thor actually turned a full 3 weeks old today. Officially 3 weeks old. and it's been about that long since I've been on. So yeah, it's been a crazy time. Boom. All right, looks like Heimdall is back. Someone I just saw said, "Wake up, Heimdall!" Yes, Heimdall is back. All right, there we go. Should be fixed now. Hopefully he does everything. Father says, he's a member, by the way. He says, "Did you baptize him yet?" Father, really? He was baptized within a week of his life. We made sure of it. It was a beautiful baptism as well. The local church that we have does the old rite, where they do both Latin and English, and it was fantastic. It was amazing. It was a beautiful experience. I have the entire thing filmed, and I actually plan to use it in one of my, because I teach sacraments second semester, so I plan to show my kids little baby Thor's baptism. Brian Barth, 703, tagged and says, "Thoughts on Sean Connery? Did you know he turned down the role of Gandalf in Lord of the Rings?" I didn't know that part of it, but obviously, rest in peace, Sean Connery. Again, to say, I can't really say I'm a huge fan. Not to say that I'm not a fan. It's just to say that I'm a fan would seem to indicate that I watched all of his movies and that I'm expert on his life and his career and his filmography, which is just not true. To be honest, one of the films that I remember him most from is A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which is not his best known work, right? I go League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and then I also would go then to the Indiana Jones films. Like, that is pretty much the basic extent of my knowledge of Sean Connery. Of course, also The Rock as well. And I'm sure there's others that I've seen, but I haven't seen all of his. I don't even think I've seen one entire film of him as James Bond. And it's, yeah. So that's why I'm saying, like, obviously, rest in peace. Great actor. Did a lot in his life and his career, but I am not an expert, so I will not claim to be one. Orange Hat says, "Has Baby Thor bring the thunder and the beard pulls?" Yes, indeed. Always. Eric K. as a member says, "Biden wins, they will riot, burn, loot, and assault, murder, and celebration. If Trump wins, they will burn, loot, assault, murder, and protest." Yeah, either way, there will be violence, and that's not a good thing. That is never a good thing. And I'm sure I have no impact on those people whatsoever, but if for any reason any of them happen to be watching it, I would say, please, don't do any violence. It solves nothing. It doesn't do anything to further your point. In fact, it just makes more people angry and frustrated at you. So if anything, it hurts your movement. So there's no point. There's literally no point to violence. So please don't. Please don't. Alrighty. Chat has jumped on me like it usually does over on the YouTube. Let's see what's going on. So let's see. Rear Clear Politics still only has Kentucky and Vermont. So right now, though, there's 3 Republican wins in the House, 1 Democrat win in the House as well. And that'll be also, again, as I said, something to follow, because control of the Senate and control of the House are also very, very important. All right, let us see where we left off in the chat. All right, let's see. I'm going to make sure I don't skip any of the members. General Wingster at 705 tag says, "Odin R.I.P. the superior James Bond." Again, as I said, don't really know too much about his career as James Bond. Just hadn't really seen a lot of them. Phonemo tagged and says, "Have you gotten to the point why you question why babies aren't housebroken when they are born?" Actually not. I haven't gotten there, Phonemo. Baby Thor has been very good. He has been very good. He's been a great pooper, a great peer, and actually a pretty solid sleeper. You know, obviously, he's a baby, so he's not going to sleep in too long stretches, but he'll get solid 2 hours. He'll get a solid 3 hours. And at night, we've been allowed to let him try and sleep for up to 4 hours. And by that, we mean from the beginning of the feeding. So in reality, it's probably only about 3 hours of sleep time or 2.5 hours of sleep time, depending on what stretch he's going for. So, but no, he's been pretty good. And then says, "I know I have with baby Selena." Yeah, I haven't had those issues yet. I really haven't. And as I said, a lot of that comes down to Freya just being a rock star. Michael Martinez at 705 tagged and says, "What's up, Odin? Hope you're having a great day." I am. Always a great day. The new number 2, what's going on, Dean Heiss, says, "Hail, YouTube chat. Missed everyone. Missed you. Good, sir. Glad to see you over there." Christopher Mills tagged at 707 says, "Hail. Now, what do I want for dinner? Wendy's, Arby's, Subway?" No. You want pizza. That's what you want. You want pizza. Rob D. "Hello, Odin. How's Frey and Baby Thor? I voted for the first time in my life today." Congratulations, Rob D. That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of first-time voters. In fact, when I went to vote today, the person in front of me was a first-time voter, and she was not young. She was not newly 18 or anything. So, yeah, I think you're going to see that a lot on all sides. On all sides. Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, you name it. You're going to have so many new first-time voters this year. And again, that excites me. That makes me happy. It really does, because I do like seeing people vote. I think it's important to be involved. And again, as I said, I hope that they also voted in their local elections. Slicer Neon 708 says, R.I.P. Mr. Connery, Sean Connery, you only live twice. Once as a man, another as a legend. Boom. Soul Assassin, you think this election going to be another Bush Gore with the outcome constantly in question? Yeah. And here's the thing, Soul Assassin, it's already in question. The media and big tech have already laid the groundwork. If for any reason Trump wins, they're going to say it was voter suppression. They've already created the narrative. On the other side, right, if Biden wins, you also have the other narrative being built up that it was voter fraud. Now, what's interesting, though, is that there really is no widespread proof of voter fraud as far as it being tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of votes that's going to swing an election in a huge way, right? If it's a very close election within hundreds, if not maybe a small thousands of votes, you do have examples of that. You do have examples of fraud being there, but nothing really much larger than that has really been shown. And then the whole voter suppression nonsense is ridiculous. We're going to have more people voting in this election than ever before. That fact alone proves that there is no voter suppression. I'm sorry, but like people saying it's ridiculous. You have people saying, well, there's long lines and that's voter suppression. No, it's not. That means that, hey, people are going to vote that have never voted before. And guess what? The system wasn't ready for it. And I would argue that's a good thing. But these people, man. Tina709, I don't think everyone voting is a good idea because some people are too ignorant of ethics or basic civics to understand anything. Sincerely, cynical Tina. Yeah, Tina, I get it. I do. I honestly get it. I know there's some people that think that there should be some kind of a test. You should at the very least be able to name the president, vice president, and I would say Speaker of the House, Senate Majority Leader, right? Those are things that some people would say, hey, this is stuff that we probably need to do, but I am not quite there. Some people would say that I'm not one of those persons. I get it. I understand it. But at the same time, there are people that are, through no fault of their own, was not able to get a certain level of education, and they're still workers, right? They might have those trade jobs. They might have those jobs where you don't need to have much of an education beyond even high school. And because they are because they're a part of the workforce, and because many of them are going to obviously be impacted by taxes, et cetera, I think that those people should obviously, they have the right to vote. And that's why, it's those people that are not accounted for in that kind of a setup, right? Where you try to do some kind of voting test. That's why I've never really been fond of the voting test, because again, there's going to be people that should have every right to vote. But if you had that kind of a system, would not be able to. That's just my 2 cents though. Renegade Spider 2099. I'm a libertarian, so yeah, Renegade Spider, man, I get it. I feel for you, man. I feel for you. Back in 2012 was the first year where I really just took it on for myself, and I voted Gary Johnson back in 2012. That was before he became a little bit too extreme on the issue of life, where he was a lot more pro-choice in the 2016 election. I almost voted for him again, but he was his public talk about the pro-choice, pro-life issue became just a little bit too extreme for me. And so because of that, I ended up voting third party that year. Let's see. Renegade Spider. Hello there. Tina B, thank you for letting them know how to contact me. Geek Tropology. How is it going? Glad to see you back in the chat. Hayden Slay says, R.I.P. to Sean Connery. He was a great Papa Jones. Yes, he was. Venerable 93, how's it going? Zine Waters in the chat. Joel Martinez, Sherry Allen, Phoenix Tangent. A lot of people in here. Glad to see you all. Some new names, some old familiar names. Always great to see both in here. Let's see. Miss Martin Muses, thank you also for that super sticker. I'm sure it's a rose. Thank you as always for those very beautiful roses. Forever Sci-Fi 713, Virginia is just a suburb of D.C. Yeah, Northern Virginia, very much so. And it's interesting always to see these maps, because you look at it and you see it's like all this red, and then all of a sudden there's this one solid blue section, and you're like, oh, that's where all the votes are. That explains it. Eric K, I figured he would like having the wipe warmer. No one likes cold wipes on the bum. No, Nathan Slay. Eric K, you're right, man. Baby Thor did not like those, and so he's very, very fond. He's very, very fond of what he's getting now. Let's see. So right now, 54% of the vote is in Florida, apparently, and it's razor tight, razor tight. And Georgia is still very much too close to call, it looks like. So I don't know what the pundits are saying. I'm sure it's some kind of political nonsense. But as of right now, Real Clear Politics still only has Kentucky and Vermont called. So that is where we are right now. Midnight's Edge After Dark. Tom, bro, what you doing, man? He says, bye, Baby Thor, something fun and noisy. Well, thank you very much, Midnight Sage After Dark. Make sure you subscribe to my friend Tom. He is one of my co-hosts over on Friday Night Tights. He usually comes in after I have to go to bed, and he's been stepping in since I've been out. So thank you very much, man. Thank you for being here, and thank you very much for the Super Chat donation, man. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Sherry Allen says, how are you? Sorry I've been away for so long. Hey, I've been away longer, I think. I've been away for almost 3+ weeks. JKD Buck, us Hoosiers gave it to Trump. Yeah, I think that it's going to be, as far as, when you look to the map, Ohio is going to be very much safe for Trump territory. Indiana, obviously. You're going to have a lot of, what's interesting to me is how Indiana has not, at least according to a Real Clear Politics, has not been called yet, with 18% of the vote in. I assume that one would be called pretty soon. But again, I guess they can't call things in right away. But we do have a lot of results coming in now, and it should be fun. It should very much be fun. So I don't know who I want. I want to say it's the, I guess it's the Virginia senator won, and that's the reason why it worked the way that it did. Let's see. The Great is here. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Appreciate it. Let's see. JKD Buck says, are you getting enough sleep? And now I am. So Freya has been allowing me to sleep in a little bit since I have work in the day, and she can nap during the day, which is something that I can't do while at work. And so she's been letting me sleep a little more. So as I said, Freya has just been a rock star. Father says, glad to hear the little one is not a pagan anymore. Damn right. Damn right. Orange Hat says, Sean Connery also turned down the role of Dooku. Ooh, interesting. Mark Oquist in the chat. Malachi Gallagher, how is it going? Yes, he had the Blessed Salt. He had the multiple exorcisms. It was awesome. Again, I love the traditional rites so much. Orange Chat says, then you need to watch Finding Forrester. It's one of his best movies, also lesser known. Ooh, yes, absolutely. Thank you for reminding me. Obviously, I have not been able to watch a whole lot of movies because I've been spending a lot of time with Freya, and I watch what Freya wants to watch, and she's usually not in the mood for a movie. Zine Water says, J.R. Tolkien wouldn't switch over from Latin when doing the rites. Boom. Good. That's why one of the many reasons why I love him. He is a rock star. All right, here. Let us see. All right, so the chat has jumped on me like it always does. Arcade says, Sean Connery and Catherine Zeta-Jones in Entrapment. She was so beautiful in that. I've never seen that before. I've actually never seen Entrapment. Now let me jump back over to my D-Lab fam. Hopefully my D-Lab fam is doing swimmingly. Let's see. Phonema says Baby Selena is about there also, and that's about sleeping. It's going to come down to Florida again, isn't it? Says Phonema. I don't think so. I really don't think so, Phonemo. Talking then about the election. No, I think Florida is very clearly. This is just my own opinion. I think it's very clearly going to go for Trump. And I base that off of early voting. I base that off of basic trends. Look at the rallies that were going on. I mean, seriously, it was crazy the amount of rallies that were happening there. So that's just what I think. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see nonetheless. Let's see. Hunger Chunga Funga Munga says, what, how in the HE double hockey sticks have you not watched Goldfinger all the way through? Or From Russia with Love? Rectify that. I will do what I can. It's just been something where I like James Bond, but I've never been a huge Bond person. Brian Bart says, why name the baby Thor? So he's not named Thor. His name is Baby Thor publicly. That's his public name. His Christian name will remain secret, just for his own safety and his own protection. Because there are a lot of crazy people out there. A lot of crazy people. But his real name, his legal name is not Baby Thor. All right, that's just his public name. Orange Hat says, Indiana apparently went to Trump. As I said, I have not seen that yet on my end as far as what's Real Clear Politics is saying. I would not be surprised if that was called by potentially one of the networks, because they tend to call things a lot more quickly. Got to get those ratings in. Rob D, with Sean Connery's passing, everyone from 1959 film Darby O'Gill and the Little People are now dead. Oh, damn. Nathan Slay, it's been a very odd year. Computer science is definitely a tough school subject for me. It's one that's important, though. It's one that I think is getting a lot more use in today's world. Venom Broly says, congratulations on your Thor Jr. Well, thank you. His name is Baby Thor, for I am Odin. Nathan Slay voted for the first time on Friday. Congratulations, Nathan Slay. That's awesome. Hardwick says, have you heard of the movie Nomadland, directed by Chloe Zhao, director of the upcoming The Eternals? It's getting rave reviews. Sounds like it might be this year's Parasite. No, I have not. I've been very much out of the loop. So if you ask me a lot of things about movies, especially indie films, I will probably not know. Keck44, how's it going? Renegade Spider, I feel you two on voting third-party independent. Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. It really does. And that's something that I again, every year I look and see, okay, who's available, who aligns most, who would I'm comfortable. For me, it's not just about who am I going to, like, it's not a binary decision for me. Right? Unless there's only two options, it's not binary for me because there are so many options, usually. And so I look at all of them and I say, which one of these aligns the most with me? I don't care if they're the most likely to win or anything like that. West Virginia has now just been called. West Virginia has been called for Donald Trump, as some of the polls have now closed. And now I'm looking over at, the Senate race called. So it looks like Capito in West Virginia is holding on to her seat, for those worrying about the Senate. General Wingster says, Odin, a religious question for you. I was supposed to be baptized as a baby, but my dad didn't allow it. Is it too late for that? General Wingster, it is never too late to be baptized. Never too late to it. So I would say, go get baptized. Go get baptized, man. Don't delay. Don't delay anymore. That was not your fault. Becky Brown, how's it going? Dion, how is it going? Glad to see you here. Super says, good to see you back. What is up, my dude? What is going on, Super? Glad to see you here. Joan S. says, hail from the Doomcock crew. What's going on, Doomcock crew? Glad to see you here. Peter Han, what's going on? Says, thank Biden got Vermont. Yeah, that's what it was saying. Let's see. Father says, Panhandle doesn't close till the top of the hour. Exactly, Father. And that was something that came in huge for Trump last time, and that's probably what's going to happen. Again, I would say. Blake St. Clair, congrats to you and the family with the arrival of Baby Thor. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. ZK Man, what's up, YouTube peeps? Late to the stream, just finished dinner. ZK Man, welcome. Wayne's in the chat. Super Tag says, I don't know how I'm going to do it. You're streaming. Sargon is on with Dankula, and Nick Riquetta's streaming, and I have a paper to write. Well, Super, write the paper, man. Write the paper. You can always watch these things back. It's one of the beautiful things. Speaking of watching things back, by the way, Someone's been mass flagging my videos for copyrighted content. Now, I've not gotten any strikes. I've not gotten anything like that. It's mostly just copyright claims, and it's because of the end song that I typically use at the end of every single stream. Now, I originally got that from a site called Purple Planet, which is known for giving royalty-free songs, and all that they ask is that you give a credit to Purple Planet in your description or somewhere, and I do, and I have been doing that for the better part of 2 years. And then all of a sudden, about a few days ago, I started getting mass notifications about, oh, this has been flagged, this has been flagged, this has been flagged. And I don't know if it's legitimate or not, so I challenged 2 of them, just because I honestly genuinely want to find out, like, if there is a claim or not. Because if there's no claim and those get released, then I'm going to have a serious complaint to YouTube about, hey, why do you allow people to completely abuse your copyright system like this? It's ridiculous. So we'll see what happens, though. But I have changed the song because I just don't want to deal with it. Right? You know, it's one of those things where I could definitely be like, yeah, I want to battle that, but I'm tired of it. Don't want to deal with it. Just don't want to deal with it. Got too many other things going on, more important things going on right now. 70B, what's going on, 70B? Glad to see you here, my general. Harwick says, did you see the new episode of The Mandalorian? If so, what are your thoughts on it? I've seen about a little more than half. I still got a little ways to go, though, so I'm going to hold off my thoughts on that. Timothy Wolf, thank you very much for the $2 super chat, says, hail, oh, gonna be a strange night. Thanks for the coverage. Hey, Timothy Wolf, thank you very much, man. I'm not going to be on the whole time for all of the election results, but obviously, yeah, I'll let y'all know what I get on my end. Again, as far as right now, according to, and again, this is just real clear politics, right? A pretty middle-of-the-road place. They have only had 3 states called. Kentucky and West Virginia for Trump, and Vermont for Joe Biden. But if you were to look at CNN or Fox News or one of those places, you will see a lot more. Alrighty, let's see. Drew Inc. What's up, Drew? How's it going, man? Good to see you, too. Oh, Lord. All right, let's see. Oh, glad to see someone said they hadn't realized that they subscribed now that they're here. Well, glad to see you here. Thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate it. All right, so let's see. Chat has jumped on me like it tends to. Tina says, anyone the best supporting actor for The Untouchables? Contact Sean Connery, a real man. Yeah, I've never seen that either. I know. There's been so many things. So many things. Nathan Slay, I am partially nervous about tonight, but also relieved that this election chaos will be over soon. Yeah, again, I am more excited for the end of the election because it's never good as far as just like the public, everything going on is just not good. And as I said, I care more about violence and there not being any violence than I do about whoever wins. Because as I said, you know, if someone wins, okay, we move on. You know, that's simply how it goes. That's just, it is what it is, as they say. You don't need to be violent because the person that you wanted to vote for didn't win. Just gonna be honest. All right, 70B, 729. Hello there. You're gonna see this and then I'll be gone. No, Stephanie B, don't leave. Nathan Slay tagged, is Nightcrawler worth the watch? Absolutely, Nathan Slay. It is one of my favorite modern films. It is one I would highly recommend, actually. Orange Hat says, wow, 76,000. Oh, is that 76,000 cookies? Nice, Orange Hat. Good job. Super says, oh my goodness, Virginia might go red. No, it's not. At least if you go by what's been reported by Fox News, they called Virginia for Joe Biden. So, yeah, Virginia probably. Here's the thing with Virginia. Virginia, as I said, a lot of Virginia is red, but the northern part, which is where all the people that work in D.C. live, is very blue, obviously. And so, yeah. Hardawake Bentho, a more accurate nickname would be Baby Balder, as Balder was Odin's firstborn son in Norse mythology, plus he's probably bald right now. Probably a little bit. But Baby Thor is a lot more mainstream and a lot more fun. Eric K., my grandmother threatened to kidnap me to take me to get baptized if they did not do it right away. Nice, Eric K. That's awesome. It reminds me a little bit of All in the Family. There was an episode where Archie is very passionate about getting his niece? Yeah, his niece baptized. Either his niece or his nephew. Gloria's kid. But they didn't want to get him baptized. And so he went off on his own and was very passionate about doing it behind their back and baptizing the child himself. It was a very interesting episode. Soul Assassin, it must have been an awesome October for you with Baby Thor being born in his first Halloween. Soul Assassin, you're right. It was so cool. Just to have, you have your first Halloween. He'll have his first Thanksgiving, first Christmas. It's a very good time of the year to be born because he wasn't born after any real major things. Super says, watch it back. Where's the fun with that? That's a good point. Orange Hat, did the song get taken off the royalty-free list? That's what I'm wondering, Orange Hat. Again, that could absolutely have been the song that I use could have been bought up by somebody and now has a copyright. All I need to know, though, is YouTube needs to tell me, not just simply someone's made a claim and we're going through with the motions just because they claimed it without doing any of their own research, which is why I challenge at least two of them to say, let me know, is this legitimate or is this not? Phoenix Tangent, congratulations to you and your family for Baby Thor. Always watch out for the No Diaper Baby stream, and I don't mean YouTube. Oh, I know. My clothing has been hit a couple times, so that's already happened. Oh man. All right, let's see. John Cocktustone, what's going on? Glad to see you back once again. All righty here. Let us see. Make sure you smash that like button, please. I would very much appreciate it. Very much so. We got 99 people watching. Smash that like button, please. Thank you. Hardwick, I recently found out that the CEO of the CW is named Mark Pedowitz. If I was him, I'd change my name. Probably. Eric K. Bolstrek had all his videos last month demonetized. They said he had questionable traffic last month. YouTube corruption, big time. YouTube also crashed this morning. It's oh really? The day of the election you're going to crash? I bet you're doing nothing nefarious behind the scenes. Blake St. Clair, The Untouchables is his best performance. You have to see that one. You must. I have nothing against it. Dion, a big howdy, all is well. Major congrats to you and the missus on Baby Thor. Sorry I didn't do it sooner. Been a busy guy, but not as busy as you. Cheers. Well, Dion, thank you, man. No problem at all, dude. No problem at all. Thank you for being here. Super says, darn it, I was looking at AP's information, that's why. Yeah, again, you will find certain things being mentioned there. So yeah, Real Clear Politics now with 10% of the vote in Real Clear Politics has now called Virginia for Joe Biden. Interesting that Indiana has not been called by them yet, but I imagine that will happen pretty soon. We are now at 7:40, and so I probably got another 20 minutes left or so, because as I said, I do like to watch the results as they come in. Again, I'm a little bit of a political junkie. And again, this is not going to hold, but right now, if you look overall at the popular vote, right now, Trump has the edge with 50.6% of the popular vote versus Biden's 48.5%. That will change dramatically, especially much later in the night when California comes in, because Lord knows that will definitely, as I said, if I had to predict anything, I would say that Joe Biden will win the popular vote. And personally, this is just me right now. And as things come in, things can obviously change, that you will potentially see, I think, Trump win re-election with the Electoral College. Whether that's tonight or in a week or in a month, that's just what I think is going to happen. Just based on the polls that were right in 2016, if they were correct this year, that would be the information that I would say is most reliable. Let's see. Hardwick, you ought to watch Darby O'Gill and Little People next St. Patrick's Day. It's a great fantasy movie with an early Connery performance and practical effects that hold up beautifully. Good to hear. Good to hear. Alrighty here. So, what's going on, everybody? So, Apollymese Minion, how's it going? Did I catch up with the YouTube chat already? J-Rod the Beer Guru, what's going on, man? How is it going? I think I did. That's crazy. I caught up with the chat. 84 people watching. Super says, once the mail-in votes are counted, do you think they'll mean much? Yeah, that's the thing. That is the big question that we don't know, because we have some idea of party affiliation, but that isn't always the whole story, right? Just because someone is a Republican or is a Democrat or is an independent does not mean that they're going to vote a certain way. But then also you have to take into account the number of people that vote on the day. And that's, I think, the big thing people are going to watch is, are we going to have any clear winners tonight, or are we going to hear from states, oh, we've got a lot of votes to count, and so even though this person's up by 4 or 5 points, that could change. And that's what I'm concerned with, because Razorfist did a great video talking about Arizona's Senate race 4 years ago, or was it either 2 or 4 years ago, and about how you had the Republican up by like a good 3 points or so. And then all of a sudden, every day they started to find more and more votes. And then you found out that they actually were taking brand new votes, not votes that were put in and postmarked and everything like that, but getting actual new votes. And that's how they were able to push it over the edge. And so that's what I'm concerned with, very much so. And that's why the whole mail-in voting thing concerns me, because, I mean, it's a lot harder to have accountability with that. And it's going to be, see, that's the thing. If the election is going to be decided in the courts at all, the courts are not going to decide who's the winner, right? That's not what they do. But they will decide whether certain votes should be counted or shouldn't be counted, because it really depends on what the state's laws are, right? Some states in their law says that votes can be counted up to a certain point after election day, or can be accepted to a certain point. Other states, though, don't have those laws, but you have people that are in charge that are trying to essentially act as if those laws have been changed. And if that is the case, then the Supreme Court, if it goes to that point, will go in and say, no, that's not what your law says. Your law says this, and so therefore, these votes you're trying to count don't matter. And that's where you'll hear the whole voter suppression nonsense come in, because they say, oh, all votes should be counted. Yes, all votes that have been cast legitimately within the parameters set by the state and the country, yes, all of those votes should be counted. But if you're going to try and change the rules after the fact, that's not cool. That's not okay. And I would say that is something that I would definitely be watching, especially in states like Pennsylvania, where you have had a lot of that stuff already kind of come up. Nathan Slay, now that I think about it, 2014 was a great year for movies. John Wick, Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America, Winter Soldier. Kind of an odd comment out of nowhere, but that's okay. As the K-Man says, caught up with the chats. We had that on their, who had that on their 2020 bingo card? Yeah, seriously, K-Man. I don't know who would be. Keely Chow, if I was Mark Pedowitz, I would make sure that I'm not a vampire or a demon, because if I am, Buffy is going to slay me. This is true. This is very, very true. Rob D says, I bought Blu-rays for the first time since COVID started. I bought Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon, World War Z, and 21 Bridges for $5 each. It's a pretty good deal. Hardwick, did you hear about the new Perry Mason TV series on HBO? I've heard of it, never seen it myself. I actually never saw the original either. Let's see. And Fearter, what's going on? He's a member. Says, Hail Odin. How's the Baba and the Baba's Dada Odin? How they doing? Oh, they're doing great again. Freya's doing great. Baby Thor is doing fantastic as well. Jedi Starship, what's going on? Glad to see you here. Zacharat, what's going on? Zacharat315. Let's see. Phonemo, Deepwater Horizon was surprisingly good. It really was. It was very well done. It was the same guy who did Deepwater Horizon has done other movies that were all solid. I want to say he did Patriots Day, which was, if I'm not mistaken, the film about the Boston Marathon bombing. And yeah, he's known for doing these real life stories, dramatic retellings of these real life stories, and everyone he's done has been great. It's been very solid. Like, they're not groundbreaking movies, but they've done a pretty good job. Let's see. Father Christopher Miller says that Mitch McConnell has won. That is definitely to no one's surprise. I think everyone kind of saw that coming. And let me see, jumping back over to, let's see, Fox News says Kentucky, West Virginia, and then Biden for Virginia, Vermont. Pretty much what we thought was going to happen already. Nothing has yet been updated over on Real Clear Politics. But yeah, Kentucky indeed has Mitch McConnell back in. So if they hold on to the Senate, he will likely continue on as the Senate Majority Leader. Let's see. Tina says, I've been watching the original classic Perry Mason, and it's a great series. I've only heard about the HBO series, and I have no interest if it's woke. I'm sure it is. Probably. Would not surprise me at all. Nathan Slay, did you ever see Unhinged? I was not able to see Unhinged. It was always on the back of the radar. It was always something that I wanted to see. But Freya was very nervous about me going out just in general, just because obviously, even though she knows the stats, even though she knows that the risk is very low for anything to happen to any of us because of our ages and everything like that, she was still like, if even there's a 1% chance, it's not a risk I'm willing to take with the newborn. I'm like, hey, I respect that. I get it. And so that's why I definitely was a little bit more hesitant to go out and do that. So let's see. Smooth Jam California tagged at 747 says, hey Odin, great to have you back on YouTube. Congrats on the new baby Thor. Long may he reign. Good luck in tonight's election. No matter what happens, great to have you back. Well, Smooth Jam California, it is great to be back. Thank you again for that. And yeah, as I said, the biggest thing, the most important thing for me is that there is no violence. More than anything, I would give up whoever it is that I voted for, whoever it is that I support, I would give that up if it meant no violence. It's sad that we have to actually be at the point where we have to do that, right? It's so sad that that's what I have to say, right? It should simply just be, hey, you know what? If your guy wins, great. If your girl wins, great. Whatever. It's sad that we have to get to the point now where it's like I have to even say the words. I would rather there be peace and no violence than the person that I think is the best person to run this country would be. It's sad. I have to say that. It really is. Drew says, Unhinged is a great movie. Again, I have not seen it, Drew. I'm glad to hear that it is a good movie, though. It's one that I would definitely like to watch one day. It's one that I would definitely like to be able to watch at one point. All right, I'm going to go ahead and update. So the one thing I've also been looking into is the betting odds, because the betting odds I feel like have been a lot more realistic than the polls have been. And so let me go ahead and just refresh this real quick, because obviously there's going to update in real time. And also, I think that as different states, especially at the top of the hour in about 10 minutes or so, once those results start coming in, because then, again, at the top of the hour in about 10 minutes, you've got states like Pennsylvania coming in. You've got states like North Carolina coming in. So states that have been very much in play, states that have been very much been debated. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, I don't know if Pennsylvania will be called tonight because there are a lot of mail-in votes there. Apparently, my brother was telling me earlier that in Michigan, there were long lines in rural areas of Michigan. So, again, the biggest problem that we have with this current election is the fact that the mail-in voting is going to lead to a lot of questions. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. We've had movement with the betting odds. The betting odds were at around 65% for Joe Biden. The betting odds now are 59.2% for Joe Biden, 40.3% for Donald Trump. In the last day, that means that Trump has gone up 5.2 points in the last 4 hours. Of course, now it's saying that I cannot connect. But anyway, there is movement. Biden's now in the 50s there. This is, again, we're way too early for anything to be called. But I just remember back in 2016, It was so funny because all the polls were saying one thing, the results were saying one thing, right? Everyone was so confused. And then you had one guy who was saying, well, the betting odds said this. And guess what? The betting odds ended up being correct, ended up being a lot more accurate. Jonathan, what's going on? Harwick says, giving up your candidate to avoid violence would be giving into terrorism. As I said before, I hate the fact that I have to say that, but as I said, I would, if it meant no violence, that's what I would do. I would be willing to do that for no violence. I don't like that I have to do that. I don't think that's a good thing. However, I don't want violence. Period. End stop. 70B says, Fox News is trash. They're all trash. Yeah, absolutely. Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, all of them. All of these mainstream news sites are terrible. That's why, as I said, I'm getting my results from Real Clear Politics because it's not perfect, but I feel like it's a lot more fair. All I'm getting are raw percentages here, raw totals as they come in, so I can make my own, my own mind up from that. And it's gonna be interesting to see these things as they play out. That's all I can really do, and that's all I can really say. Let's see. Orange Chat Review says, oh, wow, Candace Owen joined the Daily Wire. I did not know that. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I know that they had said there were going to be some pretty big announcements because here's the thing. Here's a great piece of advice. Don't get your sources and your information from just one location. Get it from multiple places. If you have a heavy conservative source, have a heavy liberal source too, because you'll normally find the truth somewhere in the middle. And also, whether or not, and whatever your liberal source is, make sure that they admit that they are biased. That's the other important thing too, right? One, get your information from different sides of the political aisle. And two, make sure that both places are honest about their bias. Right? So things like the Daily Wire, very clear about that we are a conservative organization, we have conservative bias. And the sad thing is that it's a little bit harder to find that on the other side because they are just continuing to claim. Like CNN still claims to be an unbiased news network. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you're not. It's okay. Admit it. At the very least, if you admit it, you'll be honest. At least be honest. Right? Because Fox News tried to play that game for so long, right? They were like, we're fair and balanced. Come on. Come on. You can have all these stats about how many good stories and how many bad stories you played. But I mean, come on. Come on. That's what I have to say to that. Everyone has bias. As long as you're open about your bias, that's the important thing. Just be open about it. Zachary315, DC Comics series The Metal Men. What's that? Greta Zenner, what's going on, Greta? How's it going? Says Howard Frey and Baby Thor. They're both doing swimmingly. They're both doing very, very well. Thank you for being here. Daniel Thorne says, yay, Odin's back, but for how long? I don't think we will have the results for a month. I wouldn't go that far. I think there's a fair chance we'll have a clear winner tonight. That's my hope at the very least. And again, as I said, I want it to be a clear winner. I want a clear winner tonight. That would be awesome. It might be a bit of a pipe dream, but I think it's possible. I would say if I had to bet, I would say at least a day and at most 2 weeks. Between a day and 2 weeks after tonight, then we'll have the official results. But I honestly do think that we could see some results tonight. I really do, because there's just so many states at play. Not all of them have a lot of the mail-in votes that they have to get through. And I think because of that, we could potentially see it. Again, it depends on how close these states are. They're very, very close, and all of them are at the point where you really need to have all those votes counted in, then it could be a while. But I think it might be, again, as I said, either tonight or at the very least in 2 weeks is what I would bet. Let's see. Blake St. Clair says the most important thing about bias is that you don't say biased. I don't think that word exists. Well done for the correct use. It's like you're a teacher. It's like I'm a teacher or something, right? Ricardo Fortunato, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Yeah, I mean, as I said, right, as long as you know how you lean, right, I've always been very clear, right? I am an independent person, but I am also Catholic. And so therefore, important Catholic moral issues are going to have a huge sway. You know, it's interesting. People always say that they might call themselves single-issue voters, or they might be called single-issue voters. But I heard this said by one of my local priests the other day, and it's so true. I'm not a single-issue voter. I'm a first-issue voter, which means that if this first very important issue is not met, then there is not a whole lot after that fact that's going to be able to get me past that. For me, obviously, the issue of life is very much forefront. So that means that no matter what letter is next to your name, if you are pro-life, that means, hey, that's that first very important issue for me, and then I can go on to the next one. If I had to give a second important issue, the issue of life being the most important, the second one to me would actually be more so foreign policy, would be more so military. Not just taking care of our military, especially those that have served, but also not going to war. As I said, peace is a very important thing to me. I'm very much a more pacifistic-minded person, which is pretty incredible when you look to my origin story, where I was much more, when I was younger, especially in college, I was a lot more pro-war. Really have changed a lot. And again, a lot of that has to do with me, coming to terms with my faith when I was in college, growing that faith every single year, every single second of every single day. And now it's the fact that I have a number 2 important issue, and it's not things like the economy, it's not something like taxes or anything else, but is peace in our country and in our world, right? It's a very important issue to me as well. The number 1, though, of course, is the issue of life. All right, let's see here. Slicer says, I really hope the celebs who said they would flee actually do this time. That's the other thing, right? And as I said, right, there's definitely a funnier scenario. And that would be, of course, if Trump wins, I just think it would be funnier. And that's one of the reasons, Slicer, right? You have all of these mainstream celebrities, mainstream media people who are so full of themselves, are so confident. And again, I don't know who's going to win this. It could go either way. Either way would make sense to me. But the ones who just get so full of themselves, they're like, I'm going to flee the country. Well, you said that back in 2016 and you're still here. But yeah, at least there was one guy who said, I will eat my words, literally, meaning eating the page that I wrote these words on if I'm wrong. And sure enough, what did he do? He ate the words. He lived up to what he said. Now, some were criticizing him because he actually got like a chef to put it into like food and everything, but he still ate it. No, it doesn't matter how he ate it. He still ate the words. He still did exactly what he was going to say, or rather what he said he was going to do. And it's like, I would love for anyone that would, kind of go on these crazy things like this and say these crazy things, especially the media and especially the politicians and people in Hollywood. They're all the same really now, that they would actually live up to what they said. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I feel like that's not a very difficult thing to understand. It really doesn't make any sense. All right, we're about 3 minutes away to the next major poll closings, and so we'll start to wrap things up here. And again, thank you to everyone for being here. I know it's a little bit of a short one, right? We were only able to go for a little over an hour today, and hopefully I'll be able to get back to my regular schedule. So right now, I do plan to be on this week's Friday Night Tights for at least a couple of hours, and also to have a Saturday stream. So who knows? Maybe we'll have results by Friday. Maybe we'll have results by Saturday. Again, coin flip. Really, honestly, we don't really know. However, it is still something that's going to be fascinating to watch because, as I said, all of this stuff is incredibly fascinating. It's just, again, I love history. I love studying history. I love following history. And that's why, as I said, I'm a political junkie, but in the way of not loving the discord, not loving all of the chaos and all of the stupidity, but instead loving the trends, right? Loving the results, loving all of those other extra things that I think just make things a lot more fun and make things just a lot more interesting, to say the least. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and try and get some last minute comments, but I'm going to try and also get things set up over here, trying to make sure that I'm able to shout out my YouTube members. I was not able to do a updated November Patreon Subscribe Star video, and so I'll probably just play the one from October. Even if people are no longer members, I'll still give them a shout. But I just want to double check also to make sure that I don't have any new people, because if there's new people, I want to make sure they, of course, give their proper shout out. Alrighty, let's see. Let's just apply that real quick. All right, let's go back over to the YouTube chat. Hardwick says, I find it weird that they've already called Virginia for Biden when the votes counted so far are 58% Trump, 40% Biden. So basically the reason why is because, as I said, they get exit polling data. So they get exit polling data and they're able to use that. South Carolina, by the way, South Carolina has been called for Trump. South Carolina. So that's definitely one thing that some people were looking to. But yeah, that has been called. That's according to Real Clear Politics. So now it's 22 Trump and 16 Biden, according to RCP's numbers, at the very least. But anyway, getting back to what you were saying, Hardwick, basically they get exit polling data, they look at the trends, they look at all these other things, and that's how they're able to make these decisions overall. Because here's the thing, it's going to look like that for a lot of the night, Hardwick, and then they're going to start to count that Northern Virginia vote, and that's when it's going to change. So let's see. Sharon Ferguson, Sharon's here. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the congratulations. I appreciate it. Drew says poll closed in a ton of states in 1 minute. Yes, they do, and that's why I'm gonna head out to follow it, to follow along. Because as I said, I love history, I love following these things along, and regardless of who wins, it's gonna be fascinating to look at the numbers. And I'm a big numbers person. As the K-Man says, if no winner is declared, I'll just go ahead and declare myself a winner. President K-Man. You know what? We'd be better off with the President K-Man. Compared to everything else that we have as an option, that'd be great. Bruce says, sorry about not being a member at the moment. I had credit card fraud committed against me through an auto-pay setup, and I had 2 of them, so for a time I've closed them. Bruce, no problem at all, man. Take care of yourself. No need to apologize for that, man. That's totally understandable. Phonemo says, breaking my dog chose his purple chew toy. I believe that means something about the election. Yeah, pretty much. Daniel Thorne, Amazon saying users don't own Prime Video content. Yet another reason to go physical media. Absolutely. You all know I have a giant physical media collection. Buy physical media. It is so important because that's exactly what these companies can do. Even if you've paid hard money for a digital copy, they can either go defunct and then disappear, or they can do what Amazon's doing and say, nope, you don't own it. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Let's see. According to breaking news, battleground states of Florida and Pennsylvania are too close to call. But it looks like they are starting to call a bunch of places, at least according to Fox News. Again, obviously not everyone is going to be calling it in that way. But Pennsylvania obviously is going to be a very, very close call. No doubt about that. And with that being said, K-Man says, I joke, but the thought crossed my mind in 2024. Go right ahead. Go right ahead, man. Daniel Thorne, 11 times 3, 20.2 equals 666. Oh, Lord. Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for the 5 ice cream donations. Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for the lemon. Captain Dean Heiss, thank you for the 4 ice cream donations as well. You guys are freaking awesome. Let me shout out some YouTube members: Andrew Hoyle, Eric K, Orange Chat Reviews, Adam Avery, the Bosco 2000, Twirly Wolf, Jay Stowe, and Aiden Vickery. Thank you all for being members. Also, thank you very much for being members during this time when I've been gone for about 3 weeks. It really does mean a lot that y'all have stuck around like that. Sharon Ferguson, thank you for being here as well. I really do appreciate it. And again, the people that I shouted out, those were my Army of Asgard and Keeper of the Bifrost members. The $5 and up members on YouTube specifically. And yeah, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, you guys are freaking awesome. Thank you again for putting up with a little bit of a shorter stream today, because obviously I want to watch the results, and then we also have to give little baby Thor a bath at one point. I want to make sure I'm able to do that for him. And let's see, I do need to shout out, I think, at least one new member on Patreon. And let me just double check that real quick, because I want to make sure any new person gets shouted out. And then, of course, I will have the... let's see, join dates. Let's go by that. All right, I have one new member to shout out, and his name is Jay. So Jay, thank you very much. College student, looks like. Thank you very much for becoming a $10 member, a Keeper of the Bifrost. I hope you enjoy those podcast episodes that I do with John the Flick Pick Flinginger. I have a lot of fun with those. Definitely going to be trying to get another one done in the beginning of November, probably in the next week or two. And obviously those are going to be kind of a little bit sporadic, but look ahead to the Patreon feed. I will have a Q&A post at some point for the next episode of that podcast. And then let me just double check and make sure that Subscribe Star peeps are taken care of and that there's no new members. There are none new. So again, you'll see the October shout outs at the end of this video, because I've not been able to make the November one. But as I said, everyone in there has been included, and I just shouted out the only new member of Jay. And if you are no longer a member and you get shouted out, hey, think of that as a bonus. Yeah, so Florida has not been called as of yet. It is too close to call. However, the popular vote currently is 50.4% to 48.6%, with Trump being up at the time. But as I said, a lot of votes yet to be counted, and California has not even been starting to count, which means it's going to be a while before we know that. As I said, thank y'all for your time and for your attention. I always love to see your favorite costume scene on Halloween, says Daniel Thorne. Probably Baby Thor as Baby Thor. It was pretty great. It was pretty darn awesome. But as I said, I think predictions, Biden will win the popular vote. I think Trump will win the Electoral College. I think there's a chance that we get a clear clear answer tonight. I think there's a better chance that we find out tomorrow, or at the very least up to 2 weeks from today. Either way, no matter who wins, let's hope that we can all still come together at the end of it to have those good, fruitful discussions that we need to have dealing with very important issues, and also that we can do so without violence. And I say this to anyone out there, doubt that you're listening or watching this right now, but to anyone who knows someone who might be violent or want to get violent, regardless of whoever wins tonight, please talk to them and please tell them that violence solves nothing. It does not answer any questions. It does not convince anyone to follow your means and your method. All that it does is cause chaos. All that it does is cause frustration and pain and suffering for innocent people. And it is not a good thing. So please, if you know anybody, if you see anybody, try and dissuade them from violence. It is not a good thing. Period. End. Stop. No matter who wins, who loses, no violence whatsoever is going to be accepted, is going to be acceptable by any means whatsoever. So anyway, 70B, I see you. I shouted you out earlier. 70B, I saw you. So thank you so very much for being here, everybody. Thanks for joining. It's good to be back. Glad to be back. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and watch some results and give Baby Thor a bath, and we'll see what happens. So thank you all very much for your time, for your attention, for your love, and for your support. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. And as I said, let's see. We have some electoral college updates. Okay, so right now, Biden-Harris is at 85 electoral votes, Trump at 55. We've had some more states called. So Alabama has been called for Trump, Maryland for Biden, Mississippi for Trump, Oklahoma for Trump, Rhode Island for Biden. Tennessee has been called my home state. Well, not my home state. My current state has been called for Trump. Connecticut has been called for Biden, Delaware for Biden, Illinois for Biden, Massachusetts for Biden, and New Jersey for Biden as well. No real major surprises there. And right now, the popular vote still has Trump ahead, but that will likely change. Right now, the U.S. Senate is at 40 for the Democrats, 33 for Republicans, and I don't know if there's been any crazy changes there. It doesn't look like there have been any crazy changes, so probably just people thought they were going to win, and it is what it is. Anyway, you guys are all amazing people. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and as always, God bless. And now a huge shout out to all of my September Patreon and Subscribe Star members: Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator, Brian P., David Bobrizik, Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toon, Jonathan Carney, Kenneth Camille, Lady T, Laura the Modern Major General Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Outpost Dyer, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B. Thank you very much for being my supporters over on Patreon. And to my Subscribe Star members, stand for John B., Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888-209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebadon G. Adams, and the K-Man. Thank you so very much for being my supporters over on Subscribestar, and a shout out to all of my supporters on both platforms. If you yourself want to get your name shouted out at the end of every single video and live stream, please consider joining on Patreon or Subscribestar. You can also get access to exclusive giveaways, to an exclusive podcast that I do twice a month with my friend John the Flick Pig Flickinger, where we talk about just random stuff going on in the movies, our reviews, and also we take Q&A questions from everyone as well in those categories. So if you would like to have any of those things or access to them, or even the biggest of them all, to be one of my chosen of Valhalla and get a t-shirt during your first month, and also have access to be featured on the channel once a month on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, please consider checking that out in the links in the description below. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.